Hello, guys. It's your girl, Steph Perez. Hello. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Hello, Mrs. Cohill. Hello, Premium Coaching for New Tax Pros. Hello, guys. So tonight we're going to dive into a little storytelling. Not really storytelling. I'm going to really break down for you guys. Today, as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to actually, talk about tonight, a lot of ideas came to mind. And then I just had this idea where I'm like, girl, just free flow it tonight. And when I started thinking about free flowing, all these things came to mind as far as what I wanted to talk about. And I really decided that I wanted to talk about how I actually went full time as a digital marketer, or how I went full time financial wise, inside of my online business. And I want to really help to paint the picture of what it looked like before I decided to go full time and to create a steady flow of full-time income, and what it looked like afterwards. And afterwards is what I'm positioned now in my business to help a lot of people in doing. It's what I preach. It's what I talk about. It's what I mentor around. It's what I coach on, because there is a very, very distinct difference. And, a couple of things really helped to inspire tonight's, conversation. One of those being the fact of, being someone in this space for as long as I've been in this space. I've been in contact with a lot of people. And it's to the point in my business now where I can see very distinct behaviors, and I can call it. I know when someone's going to make it. And here's the thing. It's not like if I see a behavior, I believe it's their ultimate failure or their ultimate demise. But I know if they don't make shifts and changes, I know that they're never going to truly get what they want out of it, because there are characteristics, there are behaviors, there are certain things that really are a difference maker. And the majority of people that come online, they don't naturally have the behaviors. They don't naturally have the characteristics. A lot of people don't really have what it takes to decide to make it here, because there's so much room for interpretation and for doing what you want to do, coloring outside of the lines, which I totally am okay with. But a lot of people don't fall into almost like the power of one, like I've talked about before, really just having that focus and just deciding to focus for a full 12 months straight. A lot of times there's a lot of deviation, and they may think that they're focused, but they really aren't focused. So you have that aspect of it. And like I said, it's almost down to a science, right? Where it's I can see someone's behavior and I'm like, if we don't nip this in the bud, it's going to be a really long trek to actually get what they want out of this. One of the reasons why I do what I do when it comes to this is because why I feel so called to go live and do all the things that I do, is that I really do want to help to shorten the learning curve and the success curve, for a lot of people. Why decide to waste your time? Why decide to kind of just wing this, which is what the majority of people do, is they just decide to kind of wing it. They never enter a place of actual mastery. And that's where I am in my business. And as I bring up the term of mastery, another reason why I do what I do is I'm realizing I'm starting to have more and more conversations with friends of mine, in the industry and in the space, that haven't gotten all that they wanted out of the industry. And much like me at one point, have kind of bounced around, never really entered mastery, right? As I'm seeing with some of my friends. And it feels really good to know that when I have conversations with them, that I am so solid on why I do what I do, and the difference between what I do here, in the master resale rights business model. That's I am calling it like I see it. That's really what I believe is the business model that I serve. And I serve this business model. And I love this business model, for one main reason. And it's the fact that it gives us ownership. It gives us ownership. And that's what's missing with so much of what's going on online. It gives us ownership without the pain of having to create so much of it ourselves. And so I feel like this is a blessing for me, and I'm going to talk about it more. I'm not going to disguise it. And I want people to know this is such a viable business model. But I want you to hear what I just said. A lot of times people don't really know what it is that they're doing. And so if you don't know what it really is that you're doing, you're going to find it very hard to convey a message where people get it and where they are influenced in a really, really positive way to understand what you're doing and want to do what you're doing. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there that are lacking guidance, that don't understand, that are looking for something. And believe it or not, it's our clarity and what it is that we are doing and what we represent, and what our mission and what our vision is, all those individual things. It makes a difference, right? When someone is actually out there searching. How can the blind lead the blind? How can two people that lack clarity collaborate in such a way where it's truly a win-win? I'm so thankful for, in this example, like Zach and Hannah's, clarity and their vision, right, for what they wanted, because I was able to actually see that their vision is so closely connected to the way I view business and the way business should be, and helping. Again, their whole thing is creating a better experience, right? And even though I've never said those words, like, that is how I feel. It's like, let's create a better experience for people, and let's paint a real picture of what it actually takes to succeed, right? So that more people can come on board, right? Start doing what actually is required, right? So that they can actually move closer to the results that they want, right? Versus feeling like, they're being led astray, or not even knowing that they are being led astray. And so for me, it feels so good right now to have so many of these conversations, and for people to actually either totally get a wake up call, or oh my gosh, I never looked at it that way, the way that you broke it down. And a lot of times I was having a conversation with one of my buddies that I've known, for quite so many years. And, I said, the company that you're in, I said, I actually looked into that company. I said, but it had the same issues, that a lot of the other programs I turned away from have. And it's it's that whole lack of ownership, right? It's just a login. And I remember having, my last opportunity snatched away from me, and I was earning, over $100,000 a year with it. And he was like, wow, again, he was amazed, right, that I was earning that kind of money with that opportunity. And again, it's the whole visual, right, around earning that kind of money, and literally having it taken away from you overnight. Right. And so it's as I begin to have more and more of these conversations, I get deeper and deeper, not even levels of clarity, but it's I am convicted even more about why it's so important to get out there and really talk about this and make it very, very black and white, so people can really, really understand it. Because even with my buddy earlier, when I broke down the whole, idea of, I said, I own this. I have a business asset that no one can ever take away from me. And he's like, I never thought of it that way. So again, that's one of those examples where just because we know something and we feel strongly about something, you can't assume that everyone else out there understands it at the level that you understand it. We were given our unique vision. We were given the way that we're supposed to see things, right? So that we can go out there, right, and educate or provide that insight to other people. That's what makes what we do so powerful. Right. So even in the business model of master resale rights, you will have people out there that see it one way, and that's fine. Right. But then you have someone like myself that sees it a completely different way. And the thing is, right, I understand why I see it the way that I see it. I see all of the upswings. Right. I even see the cons in it as well. But that's why we educate against the cons. Right. And I'll be doing a lot of content in terms of uploaded videos and shorts, right, where I'll be actually taking a very, very educational approach to, master resale rights and, done for you products and what it really means and what to look out for. And I have certain rules and things that I follow, right, in terms of this industry and so forth. And I'm going to show up as a resource, right, to my people, a resource to my community. Today in my mentorship lesson, that's what I talked about. Right? I am turning my entire channel into a resource, right? For people, for women that want what it is that I have to offer. I'm going to be their resource, right? Amongst all of the voices out there that might be sharing all different kind of messages, I'm going to be the resource. And I want to inspire and empower more and more of my community to decide to be a resource, right, for their people as well. Because believe it or not, write this down, that's where the money lies. That's where the money lies. Right? People are investing their money where they find they actually have a resource. They have a source of information, right? That they can actually look at this person as guidance, as their mentor, right? It's trusted. They feel safe. They know they've actually found the space or the community or the environment, right, where they can get solid information, right, to help them in achieving what it is that they want to achieve. So I got to show up. I got to share these messages. I got to be amongst the people, right? And I want to help you get through this faster than I got through it for myself. And I want to help you, alleviate a lot of the hurdles and the pitfalls, and hopefully help you not make a lot of the mistakes that I make. And so that's why I show up to do what it is that I do. And so tonight, again, I'm going to have a whole conversation around how I actually went full time as a digital marketer. And what I want to do first is I want to actually talk about what it looked like first. All right. I want to talk about what it actually looked like first. And if you're here live with me, and or you're watching the recording, you want to learn more about working with me as your mentor, you want to get access to this course, and you're going to understand as I break down today why you actually want to get access to this course. Because again, it's going to help shorten your learning curve. A lot of the questions you might have, about growing an online business, building an online business, like all of the things that are going to, help you get to your goal, which for our community, we're talking about $100,000 or more in the next 12 months or less. So like, that's what I'm tracking for my people. That's what I actually want. No less. All right. So number one, when I first got started, in this space, I did start making money really, really quickly. But for the first few years, I really fell into shiny object syndrome. That might be a phrase that you've heard a lot of people talk about, right? And I was all over the place. I was in and out of opportunities, and literally, like, I never stayed put with anything. My first, several years in business, from like 2007 to, it's very, very fair to say, until 2020, well, when I was with Beachbody, I was actually with them for about 2 years. But in terms of like internet marketing, digital marketing, it wasn't really until my breakthrough in 2013 that I really learned how to stay put, and the power of staying put. And I'll tell you why. It was through mentorship, right? Larry Marcus, which was the owner of the company that I had my really big breakthrough with, he actually was not just the owner of the company, but he actually was a mentor to me. And I remember I had a disagreement with him about the direction the company was going in. And he was kind of seeking my input. And I was at a phase where I didn't really see where he was going with it. I didn't agree with it, and I was going to bounce. And I remember he said, Steph, that's your problem. He's like, you have a problem with loyalty. And I remember at first I was like really upset that he actually said that. But when I thought about it, and I've thought about a lot of decisions and things that I've made over the years when it comes to business and hopping around and, just everything, I was like, you know what? He's absolutely right. So like from 2007 to 2013, I was bouncing all around, right? I was all over the place, and I was constantly hopping from opportunity to opportunity. So while on the surface, like, I was making good money, I was like at that phase, like when I was starting to do really well, and when I went flex on my job, I was earning double the amount that I was actually earning working full-time as a nurse. So I was making really, really good money, but it was so volatile because I wasn't building anything. I literally was just making money. I was building my email list, right? And I was making money promoting different things, but I hadn't really settled in. And then the first year, right? When I want to really, really talk about the first year, but also it also does include the 2 years that led up to my first year of hitting six figures, because I really believe that was the lead up to it, where I began to really, really believe in myself that I could do this, that I could actually earn six figures, and that I could actually play at a bigger game. And so what I want to do is really just kind of share with you some points, hopefully that you can pick up and make the decision that, again, as we're closing 2023, right, these final 60 days, right, do you know what you want that to look like for yourself? If you're wanting really, really strong mentorship and guidance during these last 60 days and all of 2024, right, go ahead, like literally make the decision, right, to enroll over at GoProWithSteph.com. All right, you're going to get access to the course that's going to help you truly learn digital marketing and help you learn the business of online business, right? And it's going to set you up for online business success in a really, really big way. And it's going to allow me to step in and actually be your mentor, all right, as a bonus. All right. And so again, if you want to close these next 60 days out strong with really, really solid guidance, and again, have the mentorship all throughout 2024 at no additional cost, right? Go to GoProWithSteph.com, get all the information, go ahead and enroll, right? And seriously, like, let's start working together, right? So I can help you with your goals and with your targets, all right? We can close the year very, very strong, no matter what's happened up until now. And believe it or not, having mentorship, having a sound voice, having a voice of experience that can really help you, right? In a way, and again, in a way where if you want to grow, right? If you want to grow, the mentorship is there. The access to guidance is actually there. All you got to do is just decide to listen, plug in, right? And apply it to your business, decide to get better and decide on mastery. All right. Decide on mastery. Can you honestly say one question, and I'm going to dive in? Can you honestly say that today you're better, right, than you were 30 days ago or 60 days ago? That's always a really important question that we should answer for ourselves. All right. And again, in my first few years, I wasn't answering questions like that. I was just perpetually showing up. That's why even now when people ask who my mentors are, I don't share them with them. I'm not free to give people a bunch of, leaders and people that I follow. Why? Because someone that's brand new will get sucked into information and they will not do anything. So a lot of times people ask me, Steph, who are your mentors? I'm not going to share them. I'm not going to share them. Not as a fear of missing out or fear of loss or fear of competition, anything like that. But it's like above your pay grade. It's not what you need to know right now. You have everything you need to know and what you have in front of you. You got to get set up. You don't need to be listening to a gazillion different voices out there with all different kind of perspectives, right? Sharing all this stuff with you because you're just going to get overwhelmed. Again, something that happened to me when I was first getting started, which made it very, very hard to settle in. All right. So literally, if you take my advice on this stuff, it's going to help you lighten your load. It's going to help you settle in, and it's going to help you really begin to fall into a rhythm and a flow inside of your business to help you get the results that you actually want. All right. So number one, okay, the first year that I hit over $100,000, and the few years before that, I was right around $80,000 and $90,000 a year. The 2 years prior to that, the year that I did six figures, it was actually over six figures. It was $108,000. All right. Number one, I settled in. Like literally, I realized that I was like right there, and I realized that I could actually do this. You guys, that's one reason why I share things like our vision, right? For this community is, yes, I have my own individual goal, but my goal for my community, right? Which, a majority of people are not making, they're newer to the industry, right? They're newer. They're learning is I want to help you earn $100,000 or more in the next 12 months or less. Why do I say that? Because I wish more people actually shared a vision with me. Right? I was kind of left to my own, I was kind of left to myself, right? For quite a few years. And it was just based upon my vision. And when you're all over the place and you're all chaotic in your business, it's really hard to have a solid vision. Right. And so what I want to do is when I share things like that, even though your goal might be a little bit different, it's the whole idea, right? That we're thinking bigger. That I want you to know right from the get-go that you can actually do this, that you in the next 6 months or in the next 12 months or less, you can do $100,000 or more, right? I want you to know that. So that's why we talk about it so much. So number one, the first year that I hit six figures, I really settled in, right? I got really locked in on one main thing that I was promoting, right? Just one main thing, right? I settled in and I made the decision, I called it. Right. I said, this is the year that I'm going to do $100,000. And what was very unique about that year was that was the first time that I actually called it. That was the first time where I actually said, I am going to do six figures. It was the first time that I actually set my sight on it. And so I share that because I think that's very important as well. Where too many people just kind of get started in their business and they're just kind of I'm just showing up and we're going to see what happens. Right. Or, I just want to make money, or I'm just going to give this thing a go. I'm going to try. I'm going to dip my toe in the water. They don't really set a definitive goal. If you don't know where it is that you're going, if you literally are not aiming for something, then the likelihood is, right, you're just going to wind up with anything. You're not going to know if you're on target. You're not going to know how to focus, right? You're not going to know how to set your goals. You're not going to know how many customers it takes, right? Excuse me. You're not going to know how many customers it takes, how many sales it takes, at what price point. Like, you're not going to be able to do like all of the critical math, right? To actually know if you're on target every single day inside of your business or every single week inside of your business. You're not going to know what kind of shortfall, right, that you actually have to make up. And so that's one reason, like, that first year, I was really, really bent on, okay, y'all, like $2,000 a week, 2,000 a week, $2,000 a week. Right. And at that time, I was earning $1,000 per sale. So I was like, that's just 2 sales a week. That's just 2 sales a week. And so I started talking about it. 3 weeks later, it started being my reality. Right. It's like 2 sales a week was like the bar in my business. Right. That or more. Excuse me. So sorry. Right. Like, that just became the norm. I started talking about it first. Then it became my reality. And then it became real with people that were working with me. Right. And so it's so important, right, that you settle in and you decide what it is that you actually want. All right. So I settled in. I finally decided this is what I actually want to do. And I called it. Give me one second. I have some coffee left in here. And it's so funny. Right before I went live, my husband was out there coughing. And I said, none of that. Now look at me. I'm having a coughing attack. All right. So after I called it, right, I was consistent and I was frequent, right, with videos. So I was uploading videos. It felt like almost every single day. When I go back to my email and I research like the emails that I sent during that time, I was sending emails every single day. So I want to emphasize, okay, the first year that I actually earned $100,000 in my business, right, I was not only consistent with what I did, but I had a high level of frequency. I was constantly out there, right? So in my case, I was uploading videos very, very regularly. And I was speaking directly to people that were interested in my business, in my opportunity, and wanting to go in the direction I was going. I wasn't all over the place with my content. I wasn't trying to serve several markets. All right. I was speaking directly to people that were either researching the company. Okay, you guys, I'm giving you nuggets here. Either researching the company and looking up the company, right? Or that were looking for the kind of business model, right? They were either looking for like 100% commissions, or they were looking, again, they were looking in that arena. So my content was speaking very, very directly to people that were out there looking for such an opportunity. So that year, you guys, when I ended up with $108,000, I had less than 3,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And it's because my content wasn't about getting the thousands and thousands of views. My content was about speaking to people, right, that were interested in what I had to offer. So my content was more focused on being targeted. That was way more important. Like, you've got to realize you can have a video with thousands and thousands of views, right, and get no sales from it. Or you can have a video that has 157 views, right, and make 500 or $1,000 from it. Which one would you rather have? Right. And so again, it's really important to know what we are doing in business, why we are actually doing it, the outcome that we desire, and choosing the right action steps to back up the outcome that we desire. You don't hear a lot of people talking about this kind of stuff, right? They're just talking about like large volumes of traffic or large amount of eyeballs or views. And those things are great, right, if money is associated with it. But I am telling you, I am starting to realize more and more people that are getting started in business and literally doing like multiple 6 figures, right, in their first 12 months. Why? Because they decide to show up on one platform, right, and get very, very specific with what they're talking about, who they're talking to, very specific with the problem that they solve, right? They're not hopping all over the place. They have one main opportunity, or they have one main thing that they're focused on selling, whether it's their own product, whether it's a business opportunity, whether it's, whether it's something like with license rights, like they're just very, very focused, right? And literally it's the power of one. All right. The next thing was I built, again, a highly targeted email list. So while I was out there on YouTube and I was attracting people that were highly targeted to what I had to offer, I was also building a very targeted email list. So I wasn't asking people to join my email list to get some kind of freebie or to get some lead magnet. People were literally joining my email list to learn more about the opportunity and working with me. So it's like every single lead that I generated, they were people that were like, yes, I want to know more about this business. I want to learn more about earning $1,000 a pop. I want to learn more about working with you. So I didn't care if I didn't get hundreds of leads a week. I simply knew that every single lead that came in, I always told myself this, as leads were coming in, I would always say, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because I knew what my commitment was to my business. I knew I was going to show up every single day. I knew they were going to start to hear from me every single day. I knew that I was creating a very, very attractive business for them. Like I knew, right, that it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And if you guys haven't heard this part of my story, right, again, the reason, you guys, it's starting to, like, again, so many of these things are coming back to me, and I'm realizing how important it is, like, to call it, right, to actually talk about what it is that you want, to remind yourself that everything's going to be okay, to remind yourself that you're going in the right direction. Because even as I was telling myself, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, as the leads were coming in, right, that year I earned $108,000, but $86,000 of that came directly from my email list. Like I was actually able to track the sales that came directly from like my videos. And I was able to track the sales that came because they sat on my email list, right, for a certain period of time, right? And so again, had I not developed that skill of list building and email marketing, following up, right, all of those things, right, guess what? That's a huge amount of money that would be lacking. But again, it even goes back to, I had the belief that as they were joining my email list, because I was committed, I wasn't worried about, oh, I wonder if they're going to join. Right? It literally was about, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So I just kept showing up, doing what I knew to do. And because I did that, I had some days where people, literally, I woke up, right, to someone that actually found my content, was watching my videos, and joined right from my videos, right? I had other days where, again, it's like I knew the name because they had been on my email list, and or we might have corresponded, right? But again, it's all because I just kept showing up every single day. I was focused. I was locked in. I had one main thing that I was promoting. I was speaking to very, very targeted people every single day. I was building very, very deep relationships with my community. Like I was literally there for them. All right. Like much like what's going on in my business now. And this is because this is the decision that I made. I realized how important community is, right? No matter what it is that you're selling, community is important. Right? People knowing they're not in this all by themselves, right? People knowing that they can actually gravitate to or latch onto someone, right, that can actually be a helping hand or lend a helping hand, lend some advice, right? Be their mentor, be a guide. It's so important. Okay. If people know they can buy something from someone that's going to actually be there for them, not like in a hand holding kind of way, but just knowing they're not in it by themselves, even if it is just going live or having a Facebook group for your people, right? Or having little community events like the things that I do, office hours on Tuesdays, community hangouts, throughout the month, right? Just little things like that. People know they're not all by themselves. And y'all, that's what I did, right? That year that I broke 100,000, right, for the first time. It was all about my people. All right. I ran promos all the time, right, to create more enrollments in my business. And my promos, more often than not, were all like training based, meaning like I would have special workshops, right? And the workshops were for a certain period of time, and for those that enrolled during that certain period of time, right? So again, because I was locked in on what I was doing, because again, remember, I had a goal. So if at any time I knew my numbers were off, y'all, this should be a paid training right here. If at any time I knew my numbers were off, right, I would just run a promo to actually what? To actually run up my numbers. Like that's a sales strategy. Right? Why do you think, businesses do BOGOs? Why do you think Publix does BOGOs every single Thursday? And they switch it out every single Thursday, right? Why do you think, companies run sales and all these? Not because they, out of the goodness of their heart. They don't do it because they want to help you save money. They actually do it because it runs up their numbers. It helps them with their bottom line, right? And so because I knew I had a goal of $100,000 and I was constantly tracking how much I was earning on a weekly basis, if too many weeks went by where I didn't hit my mark, I would run a promo, right, to help me hit my mark. So again, I was very deliberate. I was very intentional. I was mindful over what was going on inside of my business. I was paying attention. Heck, I was treating my business like a business, right, which is something most people do not do. they don't know to do, they don't do it, and they constantly fall short. Right. So again, by just having a mind that I'm running a whole business here, right? It literally changed the outcome because guess what? My daily choices changed, my daily actions changed, like the way I thought about my business changed. Therefore, again, the outcome changed. All right. The next point was I built a community and I showed up for them. Right. I did live streams. I emailed my list every single day. I went live several times throughout the week. My live streaming was another big conversion strategy inside of my business. Right. So oftentimes, for those of you guys that have hung out with me, you've heard me share this. There were many nights where I'm like, I don't want to go live. Right. But I went live. And guess what? Because I went live, guess what? I ended up going to bed, with an extra $1,000 sale or two. There were many, many instances where that happened. I want you to think about that just for a moment. Right. For anyone that's out there, either starting to get going in your business or you've been going, or you have failed to actually launch and open your doors. Like you realize if a small decision like, oh, I'm glad I went live because I ended up, signing up another person or two, right? Compared to not going live and missing out on it altogether. When you're used to missing out, when you're used to not winning, you don't even know what's at stake. Like you don't even know that your decisions or your indecisions are costing you. When you are winning and you're used to making money, you're used to sales coming in, like you're used to a standard in your business. That's why it's harder for me, right, to actually stop. It's harder for me to say, I don't want to go live. It's harder for me to say, I have a headache, I'm not going to go live. Because for me, I know what's at stake. I know there's been too many instances, even this year alone, too many instances where I went live. And guess what? I made money because I was live, because I was able to connect and or build a deeper relationship with a person that happened to be live, right? Had I not gone live, that would have been a missed opportunity. You guys, do you see why I have the mindset of daily? Like I just show up daily because literally I don't know. I don't know who's watching. I don't know who's clocking. I don't know who's back there lurking. I don't know who's researching. I don't know who's close to making a buying decision. I understand that my business's results depend upon my consistency, right? My consistency. That's it. So if I just simply decide to be consistent, I welcome in a heck of a lot more sales because of that consistency. So I want you to think about your business just for a second, right? How volatile is your business? How much are you not winning? Because maybe you've been so used to not winning, right? You've been so used to not getting results that you don't even think about your activity or your inactivity, right? Because in your mind, oh, nothing's going to happen anyways. No one's going to buy. Right? Like if I miss a day, no big deal. No, missing a day for me is a big deal because again, I know what can happen by simply just showing up and doing what it is that I do. Y'all, these are the little tweaks. I'm telling you, they are really little tweaks, right? Very, very, very little tweaks. All right. I'm going to share this story real quick. I shared it before, but I know it can really inspire someone. About a month ago, it was a Sunday, I went to a business conference with my daughter and we were there all day long. And I came back home like that night. And when I got home, I did the mentorship lesson for my community. Right. And I remember when I was recording that mentorship lesson for them, I remember I said, I'm supposed to go live. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to go. And I said, no, I am going to go live. Like right during that lesson, like they heard me processing and correcting myself. It's not that I'm going to try to go live. No, I corrected myself and I said, I'm going live. Well, I go live that night. Someone had just opted into my list earlier that day. They happened to join me on that live, right? And guess what? They actually ended up being a new enrollment that same night, right? I answered a few of their questions after the live stream. And guess what? $500. I share that with you. And I do. I want to talk about the money. I want you to see the money visually. I want you to see, right, how I want you to see the direct correlation, right, between our decisions and between our actions, right, between showing up, being decisive and the impact it can actually have, right? So like literally I could have simply told myself I've been out all day long, right? I'm tired. It's my community is lucky that I even did a mentorship call for them today. Right? I've been gone all day long. I just want to sit on the couch and hang out with my husband. Like there's a lot of things, right, that could have prevented me from going live. But because I went live, someone that had opted in that day had the opportunity to join me on that live stream, and bam, about an hour after my live, they were a new customer. Again, $500. I want you to think about like maybe what do you have to do on your 9-to-5 job to make $500? You see what I'm saying? So when I know what's at stake, it's so hard not to do what I've got to do on a daily basis, because I realize one missed live stream could be thousands of dollars, could make the difference of thousands of dollars in my business, right? One missed email could be the difference between, a $500 day and a nothing day, or a $1,000 day and a nothing day, or a $1,500 day and a nothing day. Like, I understand that. When you're not used to taking action, again, you don't know what's at stake. So you just keep delaying, you just keep putting off, you just keep being indecisive, right? Because nothing's at stake. You're literally losing nothing, right? That's why it's so important to start taking action, to start making things happen, to start getting wins underneath your belt, right? So you can begin to experience, and then you know how much is at stake, and you are able to see the direct correlation between you taking action, right, and results happening. And you realize how much power you actually have, right, to make things happen inside of your business. All right. So after building a community and showing up for them, right, I locked in on my power of one. Okay. So these are just points. Okay. I locked in on my power of one opportunity that I promoted that year. I had one main marketing system and one main marketing platform that I leverage. All right. So I had the business. All right. I had YouTube as my platform. I was uploading content pretty much daily, and I was going live several times throughout the week. And I was building my email list directly from my YouTube channel, which means I was emailing my list pretty much on a daily basis. If I were to go to my email right now and look up, right, the emails that I sent during that time, I'm pretty much going to see a daily instance, right, of the emails that I actually sent out. If I were to log into my YouTube right now, right, and go back to that time period of being in that business, I'm going to basically see a log of like videos being uploaded pretty much every single day. All right. So literally I locked down the power of one. And remember, I went into the year saying, I'm going to do 6 figures this year. I'm going to do $100,000 or more this year. And so what? I also locked in on the power of 1 year. I mean, my mind wasn't, let's do this for 1 year and let's quit. It was the fact of I'm locking in. I'm not going to hop around. I'm not joining anything extra. Right. And so I literally set my business up for success, because in locking in, what did I do? I put frameworks in place for my people. I put training in place for my people. Right. I put training opportunities in place for my people. Right. I gave extra. I created a whole training portal for them. Like, I did everything to make sure that I was locked in, and so that my people knew that we were locked in together. I didn't want them to think they were joining a fly-by-night person. I wanted them to know that I was here for them, and that I had provisions here to actually help them win. Well, what does that look like now? It's pretty much what I'm doing now, right? My whole mentorship community, me doing my mentorship lessons on a daily basis, my commitment to Tuesday office hours every single Tuesday, right? Having community hangouts throughout the week, right? Like, my commitment, like, I'm showing my community, like, this is what it actually takes to win, right? I am walking the walk. So there is no, well, Steph, how are you having the success that you're having? I show up nightly to do my live streams, right? I'm uploading content now back on YouTube. I'm doing shorts on a daily basis on YouTube as well. I'm in your inbox every single day, right? Like, I'm showing, I am walking the walk and proving to them exactly what it takes to win. So that power of one, you guys, it's like, that really is the foundation of deciding, right, that I'm going to go full time as a digital marketer, or I'm going to go full time in my online business, or I'm going to do $100,000 or more in the next 12 months or less, is really, really locking in, right? And so another part of that power of one is solving one main problem, right? Speaking to one main audience. And again, having that one main solution that you're offering, right? Again, had I been all over the place, I would have missed out likely on a lot of money, because again, if out of $108,000 that year, 86,000 came directly from my email list, what if my message was all over the place? What if I was constantly offering different offers? The likelihood is, right, I would have missed out on some really good, serious people that would have just left my world because I was all over the place. But instead, because I was consistent, it was, $1,100 investment. So if they had to stack their money or save their money or whatever, right, they had confidence in knowing, once I save my money, I know that she'll be here, right? Once I get my money together, I know that she'll be here, right? You guys, that's so important. I mean, all of those things, you guys, play such a big role in your outcome. Why? Because we're stacking cash, right? And so it's like, every time you jerk, right? Believe you take your business off kilter, right? You not only take your business off kilter, but you shake other people as well, right? And if everybody's doing this, there is no alignment, right? There's no alignment. There's no synergy, right? We're not vibing, right? And so if you constantly do this, right, believe it or not, it takes more energy to get back on kilter, right? And then you got to try to recoup all the trust that was lost during that time as well. It's so much easier, again, to know why you're doing what it is that you're doing, to be solid on what it is that you're offering, to know that it's really, really good for other people, that it's not just an opportunity you're throwing them in, but really know what it is that you're offering, right? When I have conversations with people, I tell them like what we do, it's about knowledge, it's about opportunity, and it's about ownership. And I can totally like just tell them why I do what I do and how that ownership component is so important. Again, I know what it is. I know why I do what I do. I don't do what I do so that we can earn and keep all the money. There's a lot of opportunities where you can earn 100% of the money, but how many of them have ownership? Right? So it's so important you lock in on why you're doing what you're doing, who you're doing it for, right? Again, get solid on all of these things, right? And don't let anything rock the boat. Like keep your eyes on the prize, right? Because I'm telling you, your money depends upon it. Your money depends upon it. And the more you lock in, guess what? The better your content gets, the better everything gets as a direct result of you just simply locking in. All right. I really hope this is helping. All right. I just made a list of like everything about that year, right? Because I know that if someone wants $100,000 or more in the next 12 months or less, right? You have the tips here. Like, you know exactly where I was in my business to be able to make this happen. The shiny object syndrome alone is killing so many people, right? They're constantly, again, what's new, what's hot? I need all of these income streams. Right? No, you don't. No, you don't. And you guys will talk about that as well, right? I didn't talk about it here, but positioning is so important as well. Because when I was able to do the math at the first of the year and I knew, oh, it's only going to take 100 customers or 100 buyers, right, that invest, that I'm earning $1,000 from, oh, I can do that, right? To me, I instantly saw it as doable. So what you've got to do as well is look at the price point, right, of your main offer. What is that? How many customers is it going to take in a year, right, for you to be able to do $100,000, right, or more, whatever your goal is? Do you on a scale of 1 to 10, are you a 10 on the fact that it's doable? Right? Again, there's got to be a strong belief structure, and if you're not a 10, are you locked into mentorship to help you raise your belief level to a 10? Right, to help you get to see that, yes, you can actually do this. Like, this is how we do it. This is how we chunk it down. This is how you look at it. Right? Like a lot of the things I talk to you guys about, about like the reality that the people are already out there. It's not hard. They're already out there. You're either doing your bit or you're not doing your bit. Right? If you're promoting something, again, like the blueprint for $100 and you want to earn $100,000 next year, do the math, right? Do the math. You're going to do the work anyways, right? You're going to do the work anyways. How do you want it to stack up as the customers come in? Right? Someone thinking about like a $100 decision over thinking about a $500 decision, guess what? They think about it no matter what. Someone that's going to think is going to think no matter what. When they finally make their decision, what do you want that decision to look like? Again, we're talking about, again, right, wanting to actually manifest like whatever that goal is we want for ourselves. We've got to factor all of those things in. And one of the things that really locked me in was the fact of I make really good money per sale, right? And that's when I was earning $1,000 per sale. I'm like 100 people, nothing. I got this. And the reason I did 108,000, right, is because I had my customers that did the 1,000, but then I had other customers that did the lower packages. And my rule that year was those that do the lower packages, I'm not counting them towards my customer count. Right? Meaning like not like they didn't matter, but I'm still getting 100 customers that are paying me $1,000. Anything outside of that is just extra. So you see, again, because I thought about my business. I knew what I needed. I kept focusing on what it was that I needed, and I kept adjusting my business and making decisions, right, that were in alignment with what it is that I needed. All right. You guys, whether you're on the outside looking in, like you're trying to process whether or not, like, going forth in your business is a good decision, you've got to start thinking about what you do as a business, like from the beginning, because everything's a habit. There is no, and that's why I say I'm really opposed to the getting started mindset, right? I'm really opposed to the getting started mindset, because when do you actually shift from getting started to now I'm a pro? No. I want you to come in and to go ahead and shake the newbie mindset. You're not a newbie, right? You're someone new to the space. Yes, you're learning, but you've made a decision to go pro, right? So you're going pro now. You've decided. You're not just getting started, because believe it or not, whenever you frame your mind for one thing, it's a process to get out of that. And that's what happened to me when I was first getting started, right? I kept talking about my story of being broke as a joke, not having 2 nickels to rub together. And so initially I started attracting a lot of people where that was their story as well. And it was fine when I was promoting a little $5 opportunity, a little $5 ebook. But then it was really, really hard, because it was hard for me to let go of that story. I'd actually forgotten that I'm not broke as a joke anymore. I do have 2 nickels to rub together, right? And because I kept holding on to that story, even as I began promoting things that were of higher value, right? Higher quality, that it costs more in terms of investment, I kept attracting people, right, that were still hearing that story of being broke as a joke, not having 2 nickels to rub together, right? And so I'm telling you, you've got to decide to go into this as the person, right, that is earning 6 figures a year in this example, right? So if you're out there right now and you're processing getting started, or you're out there right now, right, and you're like in the game and you're like, in the next 12 months, I want to earn $150,000, you've got to decide to become that person right now. That is the person, the $150,000 a year business. That's the person that needs to show up every single day, because that person's decisions is going to be different than the person's decision that's probably watching this live stream right now, right? The person watching the live stream might have a lot of feelings and fears and all these individual things. That's not the person that's going to get you to 150 a year, right? You've got to decide who that person is, what they look like, what do they do on a daily basis, what are their habits, how do they make their decisions. And you've got to start being that person now, right? Again, it's just like, why do people who win the lottery oftentimes end up losing it? Because they may win $1 million or millions, but they are not a millionaire. They don't know how to manage money and to behave with money like a millionaire. They have $1 million, but they themselves are not a millionaire, right? In business, it's no different. So you have to start acting as, right, that person right from the beginning. Right? Showing up as that person, creating content as that person, creating messages like that person, speaking like that person, right? Everything about what you do like that person. Remember, you guys who have been hanging out with me for a while, what did I tell you? All right, I'm very mindful over everything in my business at this phase, because I know the business, right, that I represent. Even though it hasn't physically manifested itself, I know the business I represent. I can't wait for the money to be here and then all of a sudden show up like I'm brand new one day. No, I've got to step into that space now, right? That's the person, right, that operates this business right now, is that person, right, that has those results, right? So when you begin, right, to focus on, okay, in the next 12 months or less, right, I'm going to earn $100,000. What does that person look like? Like, what does that version of Mrs. Cohill look like? What does that version of Terrence Harvey look like? Hey, Brian, what does that version of Brian look like, right? What does that version of Marissa look like? What does that version of Deb look like? What does that version of Premium Coaching for New Text Pros look like, right? Until we make that decision, it's not the person that's sitting here receiving that information. It's not. It's impossible. Right? So you have to decide to become that person and begin operating as that person now. All right. On a daily basis, right, I created content. All right. So you guys, the reason I locked in on go to goprowithsteph.com in the description, right, is because in my business now, I don't sell you anything that's not going to help you learn the fundamentals and the skills and acquire the knowledge that has helped me grow my business. I'm not going to sit here and sell you an opportunity knowing that you're not equipped to run it. You've got to learn digital marketing. You've got to learn the business of online business. You've got to learn the things that I do on a daily basis and that I did on a daily basis then, right, in order to grow my business. I was able to make that decision to take my business from where it was, right, to my first 6-figure year because I had already acquired the knowledge, right? I had the digital marketing foundation. I knew the business of online business. I had just not, up until that point, I hadn't decided that I actually wanted to build and get to 6 figures, right? If I ever had said it prior to that, it was just lip service. Have any of you guys done that? Just lip service. I want you to write this down or remember that you heard it here, because when it happens to you, you're going to say, Steph told me it would happen. When you give lip service, there's often very little feeling or emotion. There's none. The likelihood is there's none. Maybe you're feeling fear because you don't believe it and you're sensing that you're lying, right? You're lying to yourself about it. So you might sense fear. But when you've locked in on that the possibility is like, absolutely, you're like, this is going to happen. This can happen. I'm making this happen. Like, I am the person that earns this amount of money. You see it differently. You will have a feeling. You will literally have this feeling. You really can't describe it to anyone, but that literally is the feeling of decision. It's not the feeling of lip service. It literally is the feeling of decision. When you have that feeling, guess what? The choices now that you make are different, right? That's why I say things like, when it comes to like investing is a decision. I know a lot of people think it is about the money. It's not about the money. It literally is a decision, right? Like, if there was a decision that I knew I had to make in my business that involved making a financial investment, and I knew like that was the difference between getting what I wanted, like getting across the finish line, right? And not, I'm sorry, but I would just, whether it's my husband, my mom, whatever, like literally, I would do what I had to do to get that investment. Much like if my car broke down and I knew I couldn't get to work without getting my car fixed, that's exactly how I see things. But again, I only started seeing things like that, just real talk, right? When I started having that feel, once I began to understand, wow, I've been giving lip service a lot. Because it wasn't until I really decided that I started having this feeling and this emotion, right? Like a Peter tingle, like a spidey sense. But seriously, like there was a feeling. And then because of that feeling, and I knew it was decision, my choices and my actions began to change, right? There began to be non-negotiables in my business. The way that I showed up, everything began to change. Why? Because I knew that decision was real. I knew, right, that right now, this is personal for your girl, Steph Perez. I knew that right now, like the game stopped. That's why I know lip service from people. I don't judge it. I just know it, right? I know it. And I know decision. Not that I can feel whatever they're feeling, because they probably don't even know to feel it, right? But I can tell the difference. Why? Because usually, right, the way they show up, their actions and their choices actually shift as well. I want you to think about that for a second, y'all, because that's what you owe yourself. You don't owe it to anyone. You owe yourself that. And if you've yet to have that feeling of decision, like, I really want you to sit down and really think about what it is that you want. And I want you to really, really get to a place where you simply decide. And you decide and you begin to know that it's a knowing for you. It is a knowing for you. And I feel like when I had that moment of decision, and this was years after, right, I had actually had my first 6-figure year, because I had decided later on a bigger number moving forward, a much bigger number for my business moving forward. And when it became like that, a decision based upon like I felt it, I felt like my direction was made very clear to me as well, right? Make the videos, you'll make the money. And so even at times when I'm like, oh, maybe I should go do TikTok, maybe I should do Instagram, it's like I feel a calling, like, no, you know you're choosing wrong. Come back to where you know to be. So if you want to be all over the place, right, you can be all over the place in your business. But when you really decide, right, everything, right, alignment will come to you, because you'll be able to recognize what is for you and what is not for you. You'll be able to recognize the investments you're supposed to make, the decisions you're supposed to make, the choice you're supposed to make, and you'll know what's not in alignment with you. That's why I tell people very often, even on my email list, like, if you're recognizing my emails are not for you, please unsubscribe. Like, totally unsubscribe. And I tell them, unsubscribe because I want you to go out there and find the person that is for you, because you don't have time to waste. And I mean that so from the depths of my heart. Do not waste time, right, trying to stay in the know of what I'm doing if you know for a fact you and I will never do business. If I am not making you better, if you and I are not in alignment, don't waste an ounce of your time, right, opening and reading my emails, because my emails are they're only speaking to you, right, to usher you into a space where we can work together. That's it. It's never going to be a different story. So instead, go find the person that you are so akin with, that you're so aligned with, right? So that you can get on this journey of making things happen for yourself. So important, right? So important. All right. So I did content on a daily basis. I focused on lead generation on a daily basis, right? Building my email list, right? And I was impeccable with my follow-up, right? Impeccable with my follow-up. All right, y'all, the years prior, the big thing that was missing definitely was decision. But on top of the decision that was actually lacking, it was the fact that because I was all over the place, understand this, because I was all over the place, I couldn't be focused on all these things. How could I settle in if I was all over the place? How could I decide if I was all over the place? How could I call it if I'm all over the place? Right? How could I be consistent and frequent, right, with a message if I'm all over the place? Like, none of these things could be possible if I was more committed to hopping around, which is why when my business was doing well and I didn't settle in, I ended up going through about 1.5 years time span where my income dipped, right, to like $1,400 a month. It was really, really sad. It was horrible, like horrible on so many levels. And all of that came back to my indecision, me not doing the things that I did when I started doing exceptionally well inside of my business, right? So I want you to take these things. I want you to take these things and I want you to implement them inside of your business. First, use them as a checkpoint for yourself right now, right? How real are these things for yourself right now? And how do you need to begin incorporating these things in your business right now, right? So that you can go full time. Right? So whether it is, deciding you want to earn $100,000 or more in the next 12 months or less because you want this to be like your new way of life, right? Whether you want to earn money to supplement retirement, whether you want to help send your kids to college, whatever the case may be, right? Like, you have a reason for why you're doing this, why you're spending time on a live stream like this, right? Why you are likely researching like what it is that I do and can it be helpful for you, right? Like, there's something you want out of this. Right? So you've got to take the time and ask yourself, how far off the mark am I? And where do I need to make adjustments? You've got to think about this like a business. You've got to process this like a business. You've got to decide to choose differently if you're not getting the outcome that you desire. And that's exactly what I had to do, right? When I decided, okay, Steph, like, you've been so close to 6 figures. What are we going to do differently this year to make it happen? And I just simply decided. And literally everything that I shared here was on the back end of my decision. Right? Because all of these things were what choices that I made and actions that I took. Choices that I made and actions that I took that I could only choose and that I could only take after I made a decision. So what have you decided on for yourself? Right? Because every night when I go live, I share my vision for the next 12 months. In 2024, $1 million is coming through my business, whether it's through PayPal and Stripe, just Stripe, whatever. $1 million is coming through my business. And because I have a kick butt profit margin, right, I'm going to earn $1 million in 2024. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's my story. That's what I want. That's what I'm making happen. That's what I'm strategizing. That's what I'm showing up for. So again, like I said, can you imagine now having to make the decisions, right? Again, I think about my business differently. I can't take time away, take time off, because I got to think about my business in the mind, right, of the person that, guess what? $1 million has already come through their Stripe and or their PayPal. How does that person show up? Do they miss live streams? Do they make excuses? No. Do they give their time away? No. They make people pay for their time with them. Right? They have boundaries in their business. Like these are all some of these things, y'all, I'm having to learn as I go, but I'm aware of these things, right? And as much as painful as it is, I realize even though there are people that I love and I adore, right? Until they're ready to step up, there's nothing more I can do. I can't give anymore because it's not fair. It's not fair to either party, right? I can't teach someone, right? If again, I'm not allowing them to realize you've got to step up to get what it is that you need. Does that make sense? Again, like that's the shift in mindset. But when you realize me showing up and helping people that haven't stepped up serves nobody. It serves nobody. Right? And so like if you know that you're missing the knowledge base, like you don't have the digital marketing knowledge, you don't have the digital marketing skill sets, right? You don't know the business of online business. You don't know how to navigate the internet as a way of doing business. You don't know about list building, email marketing. You don't know about, marketing on the internet, right? You don't know how to use the various platforms, right? To actually build an audience, to create awareness, to let people know that you're there. If you don't know anything about how to properly brand yourself, all right, so that no matter what you decide to sell, it's your brand that people, right, are actually, falling in love with. It's your brand that they are actually choosing. If you don't know anything about payment processors, you might have heard me mention Stripe and PayPal, and you're like, I don't even know how to accept money online. I'm telling you, the GoPro, right? GoProWithSteph.com, right? When you decide to plug into that system, which is the roadmap, all right? You'll either hear it as the roadmap or the roadmap 2.0. They're both the same. When you invest, you get the original roadmap and you get the roadmap 2.0. Y'all, the reason why like this program is my heart, okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. Number one, you get the knowledge. You get to come inside and you get to learn everything you need to learn about running a business online. All right. If you have your own passion or your own vision or your own ideas that you want to turn into a business, whether it be a digital product, an ebook, a course, or just a business, right? You can actually learn how to do that from within this course. All right. There's 28 modules that walk you all the way through, like getting firm on your business vision, understanding how to build a really solid business base, legal documents, like everything, right? Even the legal aspect of your business, they help you understand, like if you should do an LLC, they help you understand what all of that stuff is, right? And it ushers you down, right? And let's say you begin going through the course, or maybe you're listening to it from me right now, and you're like, Steph, I just want to do exactly what you're doing, right? We actually give you a license to actually sell this course as your own. So if you don't have a business idea, or you don't want to come up with your own business idea, and you're like, I want to learn this stuff and I want to help other people. You guys, that was my exact vision and my idea when I got started in 2007. I literally told myself, Steph, you got to learn this and get this for yourself so you can turn around and help other people. So you might have that same vision or that same idea for yourself, that you want to begin to learn this stuff, right? And you want to get out there in this high in demand market and be a resource to other people that might be a lot like you that want to learn this stuff as well. Well, with the license that we give you, you're able to sell the course as your own, all right? Which means when someone decides to buy it from you, they're paying you $500 directly. And because we help you get set up, right, you will have your own payment processor set up. You'll have your own money getting system set up that will do the selling for you, that will do the telling for you, that will take the money for you, that will do the fulfillment for you. We help you get all of that set up. All right. So you learn everything that you need. Literally, if your goal is $100,000 or more in the next 12 months or less, you have that right within this actual course. Okay. So that's the knowledge side of it. Okay. You get to learn and you get to develop your skill set. Right. So like my girl, Veronica, I share her story all the time. I'm going to share it till the wheels fall off. When she came to me, she didn't even know if she wanted to start an online business, but she kept hanging out. And eventually she said, yes, I want to do this. All right. She got started. She knew nothing about any of this stuff, you guys. So all the stuff I just broke down, she didn't know anything about any of this stuff. Within 3 weeks' time, she had a complete business set up. Right? She knows how to generate leads. She has her own autoresponders. She knows how to do email marketing. She has a sales page. She has her payment processors, right? She has 2 income streams, right? That guess what? She got the license rights too. So she didn't have to create a lick of product. And you guys, let's talk about the other side of it. So that's the opportunity side of it. Through the knowledge, you're either going to learn how to create an opportunity for yourself based upon your knowledge by turning your knowledge into a business or your knowledge into a product, right? Or you can leverage our course as your actual product to sell. All right. So you have the knowledge side of things, and then you have the opportunity side of things, right? And then you have the ownership side of things. Steph, what do you mean by ownership? Well, if you decide to take your ideas and turn it into a business, that is your business. No one owns the rights to that, the license to it, nothing. It's your intellectual property, right? Well, what if you decide that you want to sell the course as your own because you don't have an idea or you just want to run in this way? Well, guess what? Not only do we give you the license, but we give you all the files. So you actually have the opportunity to download the entire course. So if you actually want to sell it in a different way, right, you have the license to be able to do that. And if you're confused on how all of that works, don't be confused, because when you actually invest within the system, we have a complete module that walks you through, right, the different paths that you can actually take as an owner of this actual course. Beautiful. So think about it like this. You know, when you go to Amazon, or if you've ever tried to set up an Amazon business, all right, most people on Amazon, they don't have an original idea. It's not a product that they labored over or gave blood, sweat, and tears over. What they did was they found a supplier, right? They went to the supplier, pennies on the dollar, they bought the product, and they rebranded the product, right, so that they could sell it on Amazon as their own. That's what we get to do with this course. It's called master resale rights. That's the business model. That's the actual license that we are given. So while we don't have to create the course, and trust me, I'm a product creator. So I've created tons of courses, tons of workshops, tons of digital downloads. I know the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. And I'm just telling you, it is a beautiful thing to know that I can now give people the opportunity to be able to be in business in this way, to be able to sell a high in demand digital product that teaches people the business of online business and digital marketing and gives people opportunities, right, to be able to make money for themselves, whether they create it or whether they just leverage the course, and to know they never have to start from scratch. Full instructions, full guidance, free marketing system, right? A downloadable money-making system that we walk you through, you know, making it your own. It's such a beautiful setup, right? It's such a beautiful setup. Like I've got to share this all the time, right? I've got to share this all the time because most people, right, have no idea, right, like this even exists, or they have the wrong idea around it. All right. And so if you want to get started in this way, like you like what I shared here and you're like, Steph, I need all these, I need to know these things, right? I need to develop these skills. I don't want to flop. I don't want to fail. I don't want to be all over the place. I don't want to be, you know, trying to free 99 it on YouTube. I don't want to always be in the dark. Like I want to lay a strong foundation. Like I want to know that I know this stuff, because no one can ever take away the knowledge, the skills, right? Or the opportunities that you create for yourself, right? When you create them, again, under the license of ownership, where you can honestly say, I have business assets. So like all of the courses that I created for myself, all of the digital downloads that I created myself, guess what? Those are my digital assets. No one can ever take those things away from me. If I want to keep leveraging them and sell them in different places, I absolutely can. Well, this course becomes a digital asset for you, right? Because should you decide to download it as your own, guess what? It doesn't cost you anything extra. No one can ever take that download back from you, right? And you have a license that protects you and tells you exactly what you can and cannot do, right, with it. What we all want to know is the fact that we get to sell it as our own, that we get to sell it as our own, that we get to sell it as our own. So imagine for every $500 sale that comes in, $485 of it goes instantly into your bank account. Within days, right? Steph, why 485 and not 5? Well, because Stripe and PayPal, right, they have merchant fees of about 2.9%. Let's just call it 3%, right? So out of $500, that's about $15, all All right. So 485 goes directly into your bank account every single time, right? You inspire someone, you empower someone, you show up and you help someone realize this is what I need. I'm ready to go. This makes so much sense. Hook me up. They purchase from you, right? You get the money. Y'all, our profit margins are ridiculous. And because we give you a free marketing system, right, to use in your business, and no credit cards required for the marketing system. There's no tricks. There's no gotcha. You can upgrade your system whenever you want to, but the free marketing system is good enough to actually run this business for you. If you decide you want more features, you can. So you're talking about a business with very, very, very low overhead because you're not paying for your marketing system. You're not paying for your page builder. You're not paying for your autoresponder, right? You're not paying for any of those things. We're in a lot of opportunities or in a lot of ways of getting started. You're instantly paying like $100 a month, right, for these kind of tools. So we have very little overhead, high profit margins, right? And the fees that are taken out, like you might not know this, right? But your merchant fees, guess what? They're expenses. They're expenses. You get to use them on your tax return, right? Like this, this is such a good deal. Like this is such an amazing way, right? To start a business or to create a new level of ease inside of your business. Right? And to know that with every single dollar taken into your business, that you are doing business at the high service of others. Because even if they never want to sell the course as their own, like I do, and like a lot of my community does, they have knowledge, right? That can take them so far when it comes to making money online. Everyone has power of choice with what they do with the information. This is not a course about selling a course. Not at all. Not at all. This is a course that teaches you digital marketing and the business of online business. I just want to make sure I put that out there, right? Because there are people out there that have never went through the course that are, you believe it's just a course about selling a course. It's not. That's one element, and that's a choice. You could very well come in and decide that you want to take your idea and you want to turn it into a business. And guess what? Our course is going to help you in doing that. We're going to even help you in setting up your funnel and your marketing system and everything. We're going to make sure that you understand how to turn your vision, right, into a product ready for market. We're going to make sure that you're legit. We're going to make sure you know what it is that you know. We're going to make sure that you've done your market research. We're going to make sure you know how to vet your product and make sure there's actually money in it. Like the course does all of that. And if you go through all of that and you're like, oh my gosh, I think it's going to be just so much easier to go make a bunch of money this next year selling the course and helping other people want to make money online, that's an option for you as well. That's the option that I chose. But I've been in this joint for 16 years, right? So I've done it all. I've done it all. And I was literally looking for an easier way, right? I was talking to Hannah and I said, yeah, I was like, I thought about licensing my products in this way. I said, but when I saw what you guys did, I said, girl, I'm just going to sit back, go live and get paid. And she said, yeah, that's what we should have did. Because she realizes like how much work is involved being on the ownership side of things. I said, no, girl, I just go live, get paid. Right. And she laughed, but that's the business I wanted for myself. I called this, right? This is the vision I wanted for my business, to just show up, right? Go live and get paid. And I can teach you this as well, right? I can teach you this as well, right? If you desire. So right now in my mentorship community, which comes as a part of, it's a bonus, when you decide to go ahead and go pro. Right now, we are going through a couple of lessons, really deep lessons on really how to create content that gets you paid. Right? There's content creation and there's content and messaging that actually gets you paid. So right now I'm really breaking down some modules and I'm helping them realize like how to create that kind of content, right? And the next little like lessons or modules I want to do is actually on basically not just going live and getting paid, but like showing up and getting paid. Like what I know about deciding to flip the switch in your business, do things differently, right? And to actually how to actually get a different result. So there's constantly mentoring, there's constantly guidance that goes on, right, for you to plug into and to help you be way more intentional on this journey. All right. So I've said a lot, but if you do want to know more, feel free to go to goprowithsteph.com. If you are here live, you have any questions, feel free to put them in the live chat. Right. Once you go to goprowithsteph.com and you've gone through the information, if you have any questions, feel free to hit reply on any email that you might have received from me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and to help you in getting plugged in and getting started. Right now, my mentorship community is comped, right? Is gratis. So there's no extra fees associated with it. I can easily sell my mentorship hub for easily $1,000. The information in there alone, I could sell all by itself, right? For $1,000. So I have a bigger vision for everything in 2024, but right now, right, like I said in my email today, if you're not on my email list, I'll share. The reason why I'm comping it, right, is because like my community right now, they're helping me to actually create this content, right? I'm creating it for them and with them, right? So they're helping me make this a very, very valuable, worthwhile place for anyone, right, that actually joins our community and wants access, right, to additional mentorship to really, really help them get this. So essentially I'm sharing, right, like my 16 years of experience in a deeper way, right, in a more personal way, right, to actually help you, right, get the results that you desire inside of your business. All right. So I really hope that you guys are leaving better. Veronica's just sharing till the wheels fall off. I love sharing your story. I love sharing a lot of people's stories. You're always here live. So it's always like a visual to share your story, just because I think what you did was incredible. And I know from all of my years of experience, I know that how long it took me to acquire a lot of this knowledge and to develop a lot of these skills, and to know that I had to piecemeal a lot of it together over time, where now, right, for a small investment of $500, you can get it all, right? All in one setting, organized, thought out, right? There as a guide for you. And all you got to do is just plug in, right? And take action, right? Take action, right? So I'm here. I got your back. Would love to be the mentor in your corner and to help you on this journey. Again, our focus, our vision, right, is $100,000 businesses, right, or more in the next 12 months or less. All right. So set your sights, right? Set your goals, right? Come inside, right? And allow me to mentor you to success. You're going to absolutely love what you see, right, within this platform. And I believe truly your business is going to forever be changed. It will forever be changed. You have everything that you need here, right, to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish over the next 12 months. All right. Have a fantastic night, you guys. Again, I hope that you're leaving better than when you came. If you're newer to my community and my world, make sure you do subscribe and click on notifications on a daily basis. I have shorts that get uploaded. I have videos that get uploaded. I go live pretty much every single night. And I would love to welcome you inside of my community. All right. So if you do have any questions, again, go to goprowithsteph.com. The link is in the description. I look so forward to working with you and ultimately celebrating your success. Have a fantastic night, you guys. I will see you guys back tomorrow. Bye-bye.